on WDET. I'm Robyn Vincent. We just heard from Ben Stupka, Executive Director of the Regional Transit Authority, about the challenges of building mass transit in Metro Detroit and how disconnected the city and suburbs remain. But what if the problem isn't just transit? What if it's the borders themselves? Late last year, Rogelio Landin, a longtime political activist, also ran for mayor of Detroit on a simple platform. The city should annex some of its surrounding communities. Detroit needs people, and those suburbs need money. With annexation, the city could expand and gain more revenue to share with its new residents. Landin didn't get many votes, but the idea is provocative. What if Metro Detroit acted more like a coherent region instead of dozens of separate municipalities all going it alone? What could that unlock? We wanted to bring Rogelio Landin back on the show to dig into that question. Rogelio, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Good to be back with you.
So you ran on a platform of regionalism, and that's the idea that instead of Metro Detroit operating as dozens of independent cities and townships, each with their own budgets and services, the region should pool resources and act more like one entity. Why does that matter?
There's a immutable economic concept. Efficiencies realized through economies of scale. It is at the core of our economic modeling, whether it's manufacturing, whether in any aspect of our delivery of goods and services, is tied to volume, which reduces cost and increases efficiencies and allows you to do more with less for more people. When I ran last year, and it's not new, I've been around for a long time, but the one word you always hear from people about anything, pick a topic, transportation, you just talked about.
Housing, education.
Pick anything. The one common denominator that people will tell you is they need what? More.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, we can argue about
more and better.
More, well, and the idea being that more allows you to get better.
Sure.
It permits, it opens the possibility, the door, or certainly at the very least that it doesn't get any worse.
So you're saying the one common denominator then is scarcity?
Yeah, lack.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough to do what needs to be done for everyone who needs to have it done for them. Now, you can't do more workforce without more resources. You can't, as you said, education. Pick a topic. The idea is you need more. Now, how do you get more with what you have? The Detroit Policy Conference just happened.
Yeah.
Jared was up speaking about tax reforms and things like that, and inevitably it comes back to the people about some kind of an increase, which is never enough because you can't. It's difficult to get people to buy into paying more when they don't see it or feel it, or may not necessarily be directly recipients of those increases.
Jared Fleischer of Bedrock, the CEO of Bedrock, that's
Correct.
who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. That's Detroit's largest downtown developer.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known Jared. It's been a privilege to work on 3 rock developments on the NAC, Neighborhood Advisory Councils. I've been elected and appointed over the years.
So you've seen this firsthand, is what
Yes.
you're trying to say.
Correct.
I want to get into some of the communities that you were focused on. Your plan while running for mayor of Detroit was to get the city to annex 28 communities. Which of those 28 communities do you think would have been easiest to start with, and why?
It really doesn't work unless we can all get in a room, and to me, I view them all as one. The common denominator is, and why those 28? Because they've been in distress since 2005.
I mean, list a few of them that have been in the greatest distress for me, if you would.
I don't know about the greatest because I never looked at what their actual deficits were.
Ongoing distress.
But yeah, everything from East Detroit to Oak Park Township down to Romulus, Highland Park, Hamtramck, even cities like Dearborn were on the list.
I mean, you're describing something that hasn't happened in Michigan in modern history. What's the legal mechanism? Does the state even allow this?
Yeah, everything is still on the books. All we have to do is activate it, use what's already there. It doesn't require any new legislation. Nobody has to argue or fight about it. You either decide that you want to participate or not. The key here is to get to 1 million people. And I don't think you'll find anybody who doesn't like the idea of Detroit getting to 1 million people.
Right.
But it gets us, that's the threshold for increasing our revenue sharing at both the state and the federal level.
Have any community leaders expressed interest in this to you?
Yes, and it depends on who when you say community leaders, we've talked about it. I floated that balloon in everywhere I went last year, and people were intrigued. They wanted to know more. They wanted to take a look at it. But we have a template. It's how Detroit was built. For that matter, it's how America was built.
Tell me this. I have to keep throwing questions at you here about this to try and understand exactly what this would look like. How would revenue sharing work exactly? I mean, how would cities have more money in their pockets if they're all under the umbrella of the city of Detroit, yet they're still receiving services from, say, the Redford neighborhood, formerly known as the city of Redford?
Okay. And again, it doesn't have to be formally known.
Okay.
They can retain their identity. There shouldn't be any downside to this.
Because a lot of people are territorial about how they see themselves. Hamtramck residents don't want to necessarily be called Detroiters, right?
And that's okay. You can be Hamtramck. You can be Highland Park. You look at every major city that uses annexation, and their communities that get annexed retain their identities. You don't have to forfeit that. It's not a negotiation. It's really quite simple. Whatever percentage population you make up of the new Detroit, of that new million, you get a check cut for your percentage of the total increase in revenue sharing that represents your contribution of your population to the overall effort of increasing revenue. So it's really quite. It's not difficult.
So you're saying there would be equity baked into the system.
Yes.
It's the Metro on WDET. I'm Robyn Vincent. My guest is former Detroit mayoral candidate and longtime activist Rogelio Landin. We're discussing his idea of regionalism and the possibility of Detroit annexing its suburbs. Rogelio, in Detroit and the metro area, a lot of people feel separated and segregated by race and ethnicity and class. And that's really part of our history here in Southeast Michigan. If regionalism makes so much sense economically, why don't more people want to do it?
I think there's a perception that somehow we're getting caught up in semantics and vocabulary and meanings. People don't have a problem with phrases like shared services. People don't have a problem with words like regionalism. People have a problem with words like annexation because they seem to have...
Sounds like a takeover.
Yeah, and it really isn't. What it is an invitation to come in and be part of something larger than ourselves so that we can have more for the people that we're committed to serve. There shouldn't be a government threatened or in any way, shape, or form who finds a downside to being part of something that gets more for their community.
I want to point out you ran on this platform on regionalism and on that word, annexation. Do you think that was a mistake focusing on the word annexation? You didn't get many votes. Do you think that that reflects a lack of popularity? Or again, is it semantics like annexation? Is it a failure to frame this in a way that's going to be more palatable to people?
Yes, but it's honest. And in communities that use this, and Charlotte is my gold standard on this.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah. Charlotte has baked into their city charter a function of every 2 years revisiting, coming up with a new annexation plan for the next 5 years. They do this to manage their growth. That's how they became Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Houston, same thing. In fact, most of Texas, Florida, does a lot of the same kind of thing. And we look at communities like this. Florida has 5 of the largest top 10 school districts in America are in Florida. You only have 18 major metro areas, as opposed to what we have here in Michigan, over 500 school districts that manage. There's a lot of things that are accomplished, and they're able to do this with no state taxes, with no, there are economic models that have worked, are working.
I want you to humor me here before we run out of time and engage in a quick exercise with me. Paint the picture. Help us to envision what life would be like one day in the life of someone living under this regionalistic proposal that we've been talking about. What's good for them? What's changed for them?
Their government, whatever form that is and whatever it takes, their government that operates and runs their community where they have chosen to invest, if they're homeowners, they live there, it is security. What does more resources mean for anybody? Security and provision in terms of what you have signed on for. It means less possibility of your council, your mayor, your city administrator, manager, whoever is going to come back and say, well, we don't have, costs are going up, our expenses are going up, our revenues are static, we don't have it to cover what you need.
So in other words, security meaning stability.
Stability, yes.
Rogelio Landin is a longtime activist and a former Detroit mayoral candidate and a regionalist. Thank you for returning and joining us here on the Metro.
My pleasure, and anytime.
It's the Metro on WDET. Coming up, we'll continue talking about our region and put a special focus on the rising cost of water for all of us. Stay right there. This is the Metro.